Hello and welcome to Cairo Academy. So I still remain your humble host, Okoli Evans. So in this video, we are going to look at the simple programming concepts in Cairo language, just the common concepts, something very simple and easy to walk through. So we are looking at variables and mutability. We are looking at constants, how to use constants in Cairo, and we are also going to look at shadowing, what we call shadowing. So in variables and mutability, Cairo variables are immutable by default. That means a variable cannot be changed. But once you have assigned a value to a variable, by default it cannot be changed. So unless you annotate the variable as mutable. So if not, otherwise it cannot. Once you change it, it throws error. So let's scaffold a new project. So you have scap new, maybe let's go with math, new math. So the same issues foundry. Let's run into the same error. Okay. So this was the same error we encountered last time. We ignore this, just ignore the error. The package has been created, so I don't know why this is asking for this thing 2 times. It's still a bug, something they need to fix anyway. It's just a bug. So let's continue feeding into the project. That's math. Then open on VS Code. Okay. So the first few things to do, go to script.tml and specify the version of the Cairo that we are going to use, the Cairo version. So I'm going to use 2.8. This was just, I think this was released some few days ago. It's a new release. I think they even have 2.8.1 now, but let's use 2.8.0. So if I added this, come to our source file. So get this cleared. I don't like building inside Cairo, inside lib file. So we're going to create a new file here, math.cairo, and we're going to now add our new file in the Cairo in the lib file. So the name of the file is math. That's all you need to do. So save. Now we create a main function. So I mentioned in the last video that main function is the entry point for all the functions. When you are writing a Cairo program, you must have a main function. Here you can now call all the other functions in the program. So I have a main here. We'll come back to that later. So now let's have let's do sum, a function that sums. We can either pass parameter here or just pass everything by variable. So let's x, let x equal to 5. That works, no error. Now let's assign another value to this x and see what happens. So you now do x is equal to 3, and you get an error. Let's see. Cannot assign to an immutable variable. So once again, Cairo variables are immutable by default. You cannot change the value of this. That you cannot change 5 that you have already assigned to x unless you make X mutable like this. So once you make X mutable, you annotate it showing that you want the value of X to change the data in the program. So that's what this means. I want the value of X to change the data. I make it mutable. Yeah, so you can assign any other value you want. It works. Now, under the hood, what the compiler is doing is, at first, it marks. At first, the compiler saves 5 in the memory and then point this X to 5 that is already saved in memory. So yeah, you are looking at X here. You are pointing to 5. 5 is saved in the Cairo memory. So now the memory is immutable. The value cannot change. What compiler does is when you assign a new value to X, the pointer changes from 5 to that new value. So instead of X pointing to 5, X is now pointing to 3. That's why if you print, okay, let's do some arithmetic. So let sum is equal to X plus 10. Good. That works. Now let's print sum is equal to sum. That's good. We now call sum in the main function so that the program can run it. Otherwise, it did not get run. So now we have the setup is complete. Let's now run our program. Let's run this and see what happens. So first of all, do scarp build. Okay, cool. Now let's do scarp Cairo run and see what happens. Awesome. So look at this. We are having sum is equal to 13. But then here we have X is equal to 5. It doesn't count because we have assigned a new value to X, and that's 3. So you don't have 5. You don't have 15 here. You have 13. So this has been changed. So we are no longer interested in 5. What we are now running with is 3, because X has been 3 has been assigned as the new value. So we also see something similar when we look at shadowing bits. That will come later. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is how to use constants in Cairo. So it's not something strange. Other language I know I've used, although it's not entirely the same though in JavaScript, but constant, when you hear about constant, it's just as the name sounds. So constant in Cairo is a value that you don't intend to change later in the program. So it remains a constant. It doesn't change throughout your program. So something like maybe hour or minute or second, these are constant, or pi, these are mathematical constants that doesn't change. So you can say maybe const 1 minute okay, let's continue. It's equal to 60 times 60 times 60 like this. Let's just make it readable. Okay. So look at the error message here. It said unexpected token, expected a colon followed by a type. the thing is, in Cairo, if you are passing a constant, it must have the type. The type must be there, well specified. If not, it's not going to work. So we have not looked at data types in Cairo, but then it's going to be, I think it's maybe in the next video, or I know that is very soon we are going to treat it. So the type now, this is number. So if you have not done programming before, there's the basic data types you have in most programming languages are integer, unsigned integer, boolean, string, and maybe float. Yeah, so this is, you can use integer, you can use unsigned integer. So you 32 for unsigned integer of 32 bits, and the error has cleared. So 1 minute becomes the multiplication. That's the product of this 60 seconds. Well, that's even an error. 1 minute is just 60 seconds. What do I need to multiply? That's a bug. So 1 minute is 60 seconds like this. Yeah, so cool. Now we can use this, we can now use this constant comfortably in our programs. But then another thing I want to point out about constants is, if you add this to your constant, it throws an error. Constants are constant. So that sounds like tautology. But constants are constant. They don't change. So there's no need to make it mutable when it's not going to change. Mutable is only used for variables that are going to change later. So if you're not expecting it to change later, there's no need of adding it here. So assuming we want, you can do, wait, let's create a new function to do this. Function set total period. Not okay, let's pass just one parameter. So time in row 32, not returning anything. So we now do let total period equal to 1 minute minus so assuming let's work with maybe 5 minutes. 1 minute times 5, that's 5 times 60 in seconds. It will give you the time in seconds. So multiply by 5. Yeah. So this is the total period. So I'm now using the constant. This serves as the base because it's a constant, it doesn't change. You can run it anywhere in the program and it will return the same value. Now let's print this to the interface. Print. So we print total period is total period. We are missing explanation mark here. Yeah, that's so we come inside here. So we call set total period and pass. We are going to need a value because we are accepting time. Time is an argument here, so we are accepting an argument here. You have to now pass. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's do this. We are now multiplying with time since we are using the parameter. So time is now 5 here. As simple as that. So let's see. Can we comment this out so you don't get confused? Oh, let's run it. just let's see what it gives us exactly. So this period is 300 seconds because we are multiplying 5 with 60. So if you punch your calculator, it's going to give you 300. 5 times 6 is 30. So add 1 0, it becomes 300. So this is correct. Okay, so apart from setting a constant of just a simple integer type, you can also maybe do something like this. Maybe an array, constant array type, a constant array of fixed. It has to be a fixed type and a fixed size. So the size and the type has to be known at compile time. Otherwise, it's no longer going to be a constant. So fixed array times fixed array of blue. So okay, we have blue. So this I'm going to explain briefly. So when you are working with an array, especially in Cairo and also I think in Rust too, you can pass the type you are going to expect in the array. So array is not like in JavaScript where you can pass different types in one array, like different data types. In Cairo and Rust, you cannot pass more than one data type in an array. So this array is going to only contain Boolean types. That's true and false. So if I want to pass an array of integer, I have to make it int, like maybe you use 32 or you use 64 or you 128, depending on the value I'm expecting. So anyway, that's that about it. So it's equal to true, true, true. This works. Yeah, so let me do one more thing. That's okay. Yeah, so we get an error. Const mismatch. So we wrote 4 here, but we have five data inside the array. So that's why you have this error. If you specify the number of values you want in your array, you cannot go beyond. I think let me check if can whether it can contain. Okay, so it must be that exact number, the exact length. If you go below, it throws an error. Above, beyond the length of the array, it throws an error. So now you have passed the type here. You passed the length, since it's going to be a fixed length array. The way you pass the length is you pass the type here, use a semicolon. Then you now pass the length of the array. So that's it. You can now either put true or false here. Then if we put a number here, it's an error. Okay, let's do it here. If you put any number here, it's an error. If you pass string, it's still a problem because it's not a Boolean type. So and that's that about constants. Yeah. So this you can find more information in the Cairo book. So in case maybe you want to work with other data types, you cannot obviously you cannot cover everything in the video. So if you want to work with other data types, you can refer to the Cairo book or ask questions in the group so people can help you out. Now let's look at shadowing. I think we are done with constant. We look at shadowing. Shadow. Okay, this is constant So here we treated constants, we worked with constants. So here we are going to look at shadowing. So shadowing is when you create a variable. So if you create two variables, not two variables, if you create two variables with the same variable name, it's going to shadow the first one that you created. So assuming you have 3 or more variables that have the same name, the compiler is going to ignore every other one except the last one that you created. So like it's literally going, the last one is going to overshadow every other thing, every other variables above it using the same variable name. Now you're working with only the last one. So let me show you example quickly. So assuming you have function shadow int. Let's do shadow int. So until now working with integer. No parameters. So we do let x of type. We have I. Let's do I8. So that we become conversant with different data types we have before we even get to work with them. So x is an integer, not this. There's a difference between unsigned integer and integer. So integer can be both plus positive or negative integer. That's it can have a minus sign. That means it is signed. That's it has a sign. It's signed. But unsigned integer cannot have a negative sign. So yeah, it's important when you're maybe dealing with a DeFi contract or application. So you don't want maybe underflow or to work with negative currency or stuff. So you don't normally use integer. You use unsigned integer. So but back to what we are working on. Let x I8 is equal to maybe 3. Let's leave it at this. We now do, normally if you do x is equal to 9 or something, it throws an error because of the mutable problem. But now we are not assigning, we are creating a new variable altogether with the same name. Let x, or let's do that. I think yeah, it's correct. It's a row with more time. Yeah, so assuming we are working with, maybe we are not shadowing, we are just mutating a variable, we cannot change this type. So what I mean is, assuming we are doing something like let's mute x is equal to this. Now we want to do so this cannot work. We have a variable that is integer here, but we now want to assign that array, that's a string. It cannot work because obviously you cannot change a data type of a variable maybe when you have already created the variable with another data type. It's not possible. So yeah, so but when we come to shadowing, we have x here that's already been assigned. So 3 is assigned to x here. Below it we have another x, another variable x bearing the same name with the one above, but totally another data type. That is byte string, byte array. So let's do something. Let's print these two variables and then see what happens. We print value. Let's see what happens. X. So we call our function in the main. I think we just need to comment this out. So shadow int. Okay. So let's see what happens now. Let's build. What do we have? We are getting hello, good morning. So first of all, I want to point out something to you. The compiler already knows that this is not tracked. So if you hover here, you see unused variable, but we not comment it out. It's the same name with this, but it's unused. So I mentioned earlier that when you create two variables with the same name, every other thing above the last one, this is the last one here, the last one we created, every other thing above here is being overshadowed by this. So the compiler is not paying attention to this, it's only working with the last one. So that's what we call shadowing. Also, okay, let's try something. Okay, let x is equal to x. Oh, let x of type. Okay, x is equal to x times 2. Did this work? No. Okay. Unexpected argument type. Expected core U8, found core I8. So when you pass this x here, it's actually pointing to this. So that's the only case where you can use a variable that's already been created before in another variable. That's like in shadowing, you can use this variable here by maybe using it in this variable. But outside this, if you want to pass it as maybe to another function or to work with it as in to return it in the function, it cannot work. So you cannot return this, you cannot pass it to another function. You can only use this when you are adding it, or maybe you want to use it in the next variable. So if you want to use this now, just change the type to integer, then everything works. Now we can print this and see what it returns. So we have 6. We have the value is 6. Why? This is 3 here, this is 2. So when you multiply the two of them, it gives you 6. So yeah. So this is the basic programming concepts in Cairo language. There are many of them, obviously, but this is just other ones. We look at them one after the other in the subsequent videos. So, but for now, so if you have any question, if you have a question, simply drop in the comment section of the video. Yeah, you can drop in the comment section. You can reach out to me, maybe on Twitter or Telegram. I'm always available to take your questions. So share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.